happened when someone bit off more than they could chew. My roommate Claire had been stealing my essays for scholarships since freshman year. She came from money, but greed fueled her, and she somehow kept winning needs-based aid with suspiciously familiar stories to my own life. Her dad owned 3 car dealerships while I worked nights at the campus library just to afford ramen. The pattern was obvious when I thought about it. I'd write about my mom working 3 jobs, and 2 weeks later, Claire would win a scholarship with an essay about her mother's entrepreneurial struggles. Another essay about teaching myself English from library books would become her story about overcoming language barriers. Nobody believed me when I reported it. The administration saw a rich white girl with perfect grades and would never consider her as stealing from her broke roommate. Meanwhile, her Instagram showed $100 brunches every weekend. One night, I finally had enough when I overheard her telling friends how easy it was to win these need-based scholarships with the right sob story. So I set a trap. I wrote a completely fake essay about being homeless after my parents died in a car accident. I invented a shelter address in Chicago, a social worker named Patricia Hendricks, and siblings named Maria and Jose. None of it was true, but I made it detailed and heartbreaking. Then I left it open on my laptop during Claire's regular Tuesday study session when she knew I had class. My webcam caught her emailing the document to herself and deleting the sent email afterward. 2 weeks later, Claire once again announced she was a finalist for a scholarship worth $50,000. I had that giddy excitement that comes from a secret plan going well. The final round was a live presentation in front of a board with a live audience. Her parents even flew in from Connecticut to watch. It was all so perfect. On the day, I got a second row seat behind her family to watch it all. Claire started her stolen story strong. She'd rehearsed it so many times she almost believed it. The board members were visibly moved as she described the fictional shelter and the made-up siblings. Then one of the judges asked which shelter she'd stayed at. Claire named a different one than in the essay. The judge nodded slowly and asked for her social worker's name. Claire panicked and said Patricia Henderson instead of Hendricks. This is what happens when you don't experience things for yourself. You forget the details. That's interesting, they said. I've volunteered at that shelter for 15 years. We don't have anyone named Patricia. Claire's face went white. She stuttered around about lost records and different locations until another finalist mentioned that the shelter didn't have the sibling program as Claire described. Another judge checking her tablet announced the address didn't actually exist. The room got quiet. Her parents leaned forward looking confused. I was getting ready. And then Claire made her biggest mistake. Now in full panic mode, she mentioned going to the Jefferson Street Food Bank on Tuesdays. That wasn't in the fake essay. That was from my real life, from an essay I'd written months ago about actual food insecurity. I cleared my throat. That's interesting, Claire, because Jefferson Street Food Bank is from my actual life. Not your fake homeless story, but my real life experience that you also stole. Now all eyes were on me as I walked over to the board and handed them my printouts. Screenshots of my original essays with timestamps. Side-by-side comparisons with Claire's winning submissions. 7 stolen essays over 2 years, and webcam screenshots of her on my laptop, as well as emails I'd sent to professors that were ignored. Then something completely unexpected happened. 3 other students stood up saying Claire had stolen from them too. One girl started crying because she'd lost a scholarship that would have kept her in school. Claire's mother gasped and her father's face turned purple. The dean announced an immediate academic conduct investigation. Claire broke down with real tears this time. Her parents walked out without looking at her. The next day, I submitted my actual essay about being first generation, working nights to afford college, and finding strength despite people trying to steal my voice. The committee replied almost immediately, giving me the scholarship. They also told me that Claire's fake fundraiser got reported for fraud, and every scholarship organization she'd won money from had launched investigations. She was expelled 3 weeks later. I think she's working at one of her dad's dealerships now to pay back every stolen scholarship. Her Instagram went private, but someone told me all the brunch photos were gone.